Okay, good morning. So we're continuing working through Hilchas Seder. Interesting halachas today. Shin Tez Zayin Halacha Yud. So now we're going to discuss what happens if there's an animal which is dangerous. A dangerous animal. What can you do about that on Shabbos? So says the Mechaben Yud, Kol Chayav Oremes Sheim Noishchin Umemisin Vadai, that any animal or creature that is bites and can kill, there's it's definitely dangerous. Neherogim b'Shabbos, you're allowed to kill that animal on Shabbos. Afilu ein rotzin achrov, even if it's not chasing you. If you see a dangerous animal, you're allowed to kill it because as a preventative measure. Ushar mazikin and other dangerous animals, kagoi nochosh va'akrov, which are not meimissin, the types of snakes which don't kill, which I think is the majority of snakes, va'akrov and a scorpion, b'mokum she'ein meimissin, for those ones that do not kill, imrotz in achrov mutal hargam. If they're chasing after you and therefore they could cause injury, then you're allowed to kill them. V'im lav osa, but if they're not chasing after you, then you can't. You can't kill them. But, interesting halacha, you're allowed to sort of walk, if you see, and then you see the snake, and sort of, in the course of your walking, you're allowed to step on them and kill them. Even if that's your intention, just so long as you don't give the appearance you've gone out of your way to kill it. You're just sort of making out that you're not really intending to kill them. It's an interesting halacha. Okay, let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Yud, Sivkot and Mem Dalet. Shehem, Kagoin, Kelev, Shoiter, like a mad or a crazy dog, or often it's described as a Kelev Shoiter, as a dog that's got rabies, and it's a crazy dog. V'chia Gavna. Then you're allowed to kill it if it's you're allowed to kill those ones, even if they're not running after you. Va'afilu borchin milefonov, even if they may run away, they may you could chase them away, and they'll you throw a stick in it or something and it will run away. Even still, you're allowed to kill those ones. Imrotzin. So what is this now? Yeah, but then if other animals which are not going to kill, then imrotzin achrov, we said mutal hargo. Then you're allowed to kill them if they're running after you. Says the Mishnah Berurah Memvav, Ladas Harambam, according to the shit of the Rambam, the Mechayev Melachshin Tzricha Legufa, Tzarich Leima, you got to say the following: Dohachi Ka'amar. She'ein memisin vadai elu sofik pikuach nefesh. They're not going to kill with certainty, but it's a sofik whether they're going to call a sofik pikuach nefesh, and that's why you're allowed to kill them. And therefore, if they're running after you, you're allowed to kill them, because according to the shit of the Rambam, the Melach Shein Tzricha Legufa is chayev. Must be a sofik pikuach nefesh. That's the justification to kill these animals. Mihu l'didan, but according to us, the Srile Melach Shein Tzricha Legufa midrabanan who does that a Melach Shein Tzricha Legufa is only a nisa drabanan. The Minator it's okay. Av she'ein sofik pikuach nefesh klal. Even in a situation where there is not pikuach nefesh, shari, you're allowed to kill the animal mishum tsar ba'alma kadesh lo yuzak. You're allowed to kill the animal in just so that it won't injure you. V'davka elu b'chol ki agav neshimazikin hein betivon v'neshichason neshicha iketzes. And davka, those animals that by nature they bite and they can sting you. Ela she'ein darken lahamis b'hamokim. They don't b'zehamokim, but they don't normally kill. Mash'ein kein parash delel, the flea that we spoke about yesterday. V'chol remosim katanim ki agavna, and the similar types of very sort of harmless insects. Even if you get stung, it's not such a big deal. Bahani osel hargan, those you cannot kill. Af kashem oiksin oisol eliyavrichem me'olav. You just sort of chase them away. So let's just summarize where we're up to. The Mechaber says there's a distinction between animals that kill and animals that don't. Any animal that bites and kills, you're allowed to kill it, no problem. And even if they're not running after you, even if they would run away, if you see a dangerous animal, you are allowed to kill it. If, however, the animal is not life-threatening, but it could just cause injury, then you're only allowed to kill it if it's running after you. If it's not running after you, then it's asa. But you can, mutar l'darsam, as we'll see in a minute, you can sort of step on it and walk on it, sort of lefi tumay, just in your normal course of walking. Now, let's take a look at two important footnotes. We're going to discuss what about a wasp and a bee and these sort of things. What can you do for that on Shabbos? It's first of all, 81. Va'af im ein hanochash va'akrav rotzim achrov. Even if you've got a snake and a scorpion, which again, these are described as dangerous animals, but they're not life-threatening, unless we're talking about a life-threatening snake. But normally a nachash and akrov is not life-threatening. Even if they're not running after you, but they're heading your way. So the second category, for example, a nachash and an akrov, you're not allowed to kill them unless they're running after you. But says Rosh Hashanah, even if they're not literally running after you, but they're just heading towards you, that's enough. You can kill them. Okay, that's number one. And point number two, if you look at footnote 82, he says Umashma shemut laharik tzira. The implication is that you're allowed to kill a wasp, because its sting can cause a lot of distress. He says that a wasp does not have the same status as the nachash and akrov, but it would be more in the category of a flea that we spoke about yesterday, and therefore you cannot kill it. The sting is not so dangerous. It's unpleasant and it hurts, but it's not more than that. And therefore, when it comes to a wasp, there's no heter to actually kill it. Trapping it, we said that would be different. Yeah. Okay. So that's 82. That's a scientific biological question. I'm not sure. I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I think a wasp is more serious than a bee, no?
They intend to sting you.
Yeah.
The mother of the wasp is dangerous.
Yeah, I think one dies afterwards, or one doesn't, or something. No, not entirely sure. Okay, don't know. But I think for these purposes, I'm not sure if there's a difference. Both are unpleasant, but like the Rabbi Shlomo was saying, it's a tsar, but it's not considered like a life-threatening. Or very, very dangerous. Yeah. Okay, let's carry on the Mishnah Berurah. Mem Zayin, Ledarsom. So again, we said in this, the Mechaber says that an animal which could kill, you're allowed to kill that animal. If however, the Shamazikin could go in Nochash V'akrov, so in a situation where they're not going to kill you, then you can only kill them if they're running after you, or as Rosh Hashanah says, they're heading towards you. But you are allowed in that situation to tread on it and to kill it as a preventative measure, so long as it's mesiach lefitumai. So you're walking that way anyway, and it's not nikar, it's not recognizable that you're doing that. Says the Mishnah Berurah Mem Zayin, v'wadin shekoif alein kli, and so too you can put a kli on top of the animal to prevent it causing biting or something like that. V'afilu b'mischavin, says the Mishnah Berurah Mem Ches, the malach shein tzrich legufahi, because when you are the whole stepping on this animal and killing it is a malacha shein tzrich legufa, which we paskin is mutar. For hoch kashein mazikin, and here when these animals can cause injury, even though they can't kill you, but they can cause injury. Midrabanan lo gazru kashein hargin lahedja. Then even midrabanan they will never geyser against them. Kashein lahargin lahedja, when you don't kill them sort of explicitly, clearly. Ella sheyar lifnei aroy kilu ein mischaven. You're just walking that way, and whoops, I've trodden on this animal. People won't say that you killed an animal with intent on Shabbos, and they won't know to differentiate between animals which are life-threatening and animals which are not. However, ants and other animals are filu derech hiluchay asel darson. But even just in your derech, your regular walking, you should avoid stepping on them, and therefore you've got to be careful. Sometimes you're walking in the street and on the pavement you see some ants or something. You should avoid stepping on them. Also, lahargan, just because it's derech tumah, it doesn't give you a green light to step on them. Also, laharg b'Shabbos shemomis shekerin shpin. So he says at the bottom here, akavish is a spider. We spoke about that someone else yesterday. So someone mentioned a spider yesterday. I can't remember. Anyway, so it says here that you're not allowed to kill a spider on Shabbos. It's not really dangerous, and even those who say that it's dangerous if it falls into food, the danger is not clear. And furthermore, you can cover the food. You should protest against people who unnecessarily kill spiders on Shabbos. For Kolshkein de yesh lizohem melareg shar remosim for toiloim anim sober parents. And so too, you should be careful if you have some flies or insects on a food which are alive. You've got to be careful not to kill them and just to wash, to shake them away or something like that. Okay, fine. That is the end of Yud. Yud Aleph. Says the Mechaber, Lo yeshav sheif beraglov roik al gabi karka. So this is, we're going to come back to Chayas and Ophis in Yud Beis, which will be on next week in Mr. Shem. But Yud Aleph, we're now talking about spit and other things, which is not really related to Seder per se. But Lo yeshav sheif beraglov. I guess because we were talking about derech hiluchay, so this is related. Lo yeshav sheif beraglov roik al gabi karka. You're not allowed to rub spittle into the ground on Shabbos mishum de meshavik gumos. We're worried you might come to level up the grounds and make and that's a problem of chayresh or boino or things like that. Avul mutza ledarsa lefituma. But if you're walking and there's some spittle on the ground, then you can walk over it and tread on it. That's not a problem. She'ena mischavin lemoreach v'lahashvus gumos, because you're not really intending to be meshavik gumos. V'afal gav de meila memerechu, even though inevitably you're going to be sort of spreading out the spittle. It's not because you're not intending to do it, and because it's very unpleasant to see a little bit of spittle on the ground. If you step on it and you sort of spread it out and it sort of dissolves into the ground, then that's okay because it's mo'us, it's considered disgusting. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah Sifkot and Memtes al gabe karka val gabe ritzpa. But that's when it's on an earthen floor, you're in the street or on a courtyard or something like that. But when it's tiled, it's on a ritzpah. Talia bepluksa de siman shin lamed zayin sif base. That's a machlekas we'll get to Mr. Shem and shin lamed zayin sif base. V'gabi kibud habayis b'mrutzav, whether you're allowed to sweep a house which is tiled. Ayin sham. Or the Ramah the Eisa sham b'chol gavni. The Ramah takes a stricter view over there and asas who adin hacha the asa afagav the ritzpah. He will ask you from treading into from sort of smoothing out this spittle on the floor. But if the spittle is on some sort of bench or seat, that would be allowed. Because there's no issue over here of ashvui gumas if it's on a chair. And for the issue of meruach, which is smoothing out, we're not worried about that. Here, you want the cream on your hand or something, but if it's just being absorbed into the ground, that's not really an issue of memareach. If you look at 84, oh sorry, I missed that. That was on. Oh no, okay. Yeah, okay, no, that's something else. Okay, fine. Let's carry on. Sivkot and Nun. Because sometimes you might be doing memareach, and therefore, if it's an uneven ground, you might come to be meshavik gumas to even it out. But by walking on it and it's mo'os, then that's allowed. Shari mishum mishsusa nun aleph. Afal pi shebeis shedeiris al haroik motzu shemeshafshev gam kein ma'at. It's possible that you're sort of rubbing a little bit. Afal pi kein hitziru mishum me'isusa. Nevertheless, because it's mo'os, they allow you to walk on it to spread out the spittle that it's more easily dissolved into the ground. Given the lemeshafshev. You're not doing it properly, sort of moving it out, spreading it all over the place. You're just stepping on it. Therefore, it's not considered a psik reisha. For davka kashu b'derech chiluchay, and davka it's allowed if you were walking that way anyway. You don't have to avoid it. You can tread on it, and even though you're sort of letting it dissolve into the ground. Even though your kavon is to tread on the spittle, but you're not intending really to spread it out. Inevitably, it will settle more quickly. But it's allowed. You can't, just head over that way to tread on it. It's got to be derech hiluchay. You're walking that way anyway. If you dafka make a beeline to that thing, that's what's not allowed. But you can just walk derech tumay and just step on it and just try and avoid rubbing it in with your foot. Nowadays, this is interesting. The Magen Avraham says nowadays we're less worried about the disgustingness, if that's the right word, of roik. You should just be careful to avoid rubbing it in when you tread on it. Just stand on it. Okay, that's that. But if you've got some discharge, some mucus or something from your nose or from your mouth, that's certainly disgusting to see that on the ground. And therefore that's allowed to walk on it so that it's sort of it's embedded into the ground. And if you're in a shul, if there's some sort of mess on the floor, that would certainly be allowed. You're allowed in your normal course of walking to tread on it. In a shul, you've got to behave with respect. And in a person's house which is tiled, which is floored, you don't have to be stricter with roik, and therefore you would be allowed to tread into it. Okay, that's probably a good place to stop. Mr. Hashem will do Yud Base next week.